last week on The Presenter.
Hatimaye iliyosemekana kama ni udaku ama ni umbea, bila shaka leo imefua dafu.
We had fundamental and we had
Ngoja. Sawa twende.
Can you just give me one move, girl?
Coming to you from the committee prison, where Samantha Lethwaite, one of the world's most wanted terror suspects, has just escaped from prison.
There's so many people so far saying this has been a flop. What are you going to say to them?
If you don't know how to enjoy yourself, then don't blame others for having fun.
Uwe Kampala, uwe Mombasa, uwe Malaba, utatupata tu. Manake tunaleta show live. Ni ngoma digitali, sindo wakali, sindo majeme dari.
After the presentations, it's the judges' turn to deliberate on the contestants' performance.
They are shocked
because this is now where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly.
You're lying in front of the camera.
Two things that are imposing: a personality and a voice. She has a very strong voice and loud voice. So when she speaks, she commands your attention.
But when you pay attention,
but then when you pay attention, you realize, what is this person telling you?
And this is new. We're talking about live reporting. Yes. You always put in those kind of situations where now you're expected to act and be all of this, and if you crumble in the moment of truth, then that shows all along it's all been something else.
By this time, all of them should have it, so it's just a competition of who has finessed it better than the other.
We trained you on outside broadcasting, live reporting, and you had the privilege of being trained by one of the best, somebody with vast experience in live reporting, Sophia Wanuna, journalist and host of the top-rated breakfast show on KTN, The Morning Express. Let's review how you performed, and let's see who's worthy of proceeding in the academy and who should leave the academy tonight. Rose Gaku, please step forward. Rose, let's see what you did.
Right here is the Shimo Latewa gate, and right next to it is a tunnel. Now, this is the tunnel allegedly through which a terror suspect, Mohamed Kuno, escaped from, maybe at around 4 a.m. according to a prison warden. Now, the prison warden says that at around 4:30 a.m., while doing his usual rounds, he spotted Mohamed Kuno in his cell. At the same time, the prison warden says it is yet not really clear to tell her how Mohamed Kuno, alias Gamathere, alias Blues, was able to escape outside, or rather out of the prison.
Director, let's stop this. From what you've seen, our guest judge, Sophia Wanuna, what do you think of Rose's performance?
I think Rose forgot quite a number of the key things we learned about during that particular training. One of the things we talked about is the information you're giving. This is a breaking story. You have the attention of the nation, if not the world. Everyone wants to hear what's happening here. And you start your report with talking about a tunnel, and this is the gate. What I remember mentioning to each one of you was the inverted pyramid. That is what we use as journalists. You start with the most important information. Who is this we're talking about? What is the story here? A most wanted terror suspect has escaped from prison. That's where you begin. Another issue of concern is your grammar, your diction. You completely lost that. So you need to be thinking very fast on your feet and using the correct words to communicate. You talk about alias. What is that? Alias. It's simple, but you cannot, that's a no-no. Because you know what happens after that? Everybody focuses on, did she just say Elias? And they're not listening to you, they're now poking fun at you. So they're missing out on the information you're giving. It is these small details that are very keen, you must pay a lot of attention on. So your diction, your substance, completely wanting. It was shallow reporting. That said, Rose Gaku, your mic is now off. Leave the academy.
Zainab Ismail, please step forward. We had problems with your language again, Zainab. You kept saying things that did not make sense totally. You kept talking about police militants. I have never heard anything like that. As judges, we were baffled by your lack of detail, your lack of depth in your reporting. You need to work on your language, because we're going to speak in English. That is the language that you have chosen for this competition. And so you have to be comfortable with the language that you speak, because people are depending on you to give them information, and you cannot be struggling looking for words when they're looking for information. Only your immunity has saved you, Zainab. Your mic is still on.
Frida Mwaka, we are yet not sure on which side you fall, where your strengths really are. Is it the news? Is it entertainment? We keep hearing a lot of bila shaka, bila shaka, bila shaka after every 2-3 sentences. You were the only one for the entertainment challenge that had at least some sort of activity outside of the norm. You had a band going, people singing. Yes, you grabbed some people by force for an interview, but I suppose you got carried away. Those are the good things. Your intonation, it's very singy-songy. It's like you're doing a shairi, and you've been corrected on that before. You need to look into that. Your mic is still on.
Tendai Mbalekwa. Tendai, when we saw your live link from the KICC and the video was about to come, of course that's your area, that's your forte, that's where your mohawk kicks in. And one thing that we liked is we liked your mic technique. You're able to hold your mic, you're able to give your mic to your interviewee and bring it back. So we heard you throughout. You did not give us pop sounds, you did not put the mic too close to your mouth, neither did you put it too far. Your mic is still on.
Abula, you have great mic technique. You are comfortable in your skin, confident. However, again, I'll tell you, when you're doing a live link, remember it's breaking news. The viewers want to hear the most important details fast. You want to tell us why this person is the most wanted terrorist, what it is they've done, the context. The country has been dealing with the security challenge. So your reportage was very shallow. That said, you had it together throughout the complete reporting live link. When you're doing entertainment, and we talked about being present and capturing the mood of the event you're in. If it's a happy place, you're happy, you're smiling, you're energetic. You know, you just looked plain. But you have good composure, very good use. I love your Kiswahili, and we enjoy listening to you. So your mic is still on.
Charlie Karumi and Frida Sunday.
Charlie, you were too casual. I think you still are, even right now. You used the N word on television.
The heezy for sheezy, my nigga.
You might be doing entertainment, but there is still a certain level of being proper that is still required of you. And the entertainment was going on, and you appeared lively. You just took it too far, but you appeared lively. And that is something that we have talked about, that when you're in an event, you need to connect with what is going on, and you appeared to do that.
Frida, you're quite the opposite. We watched your performance and we were quiet. We had to play it back.
We have had people who have been performing before him. We had Phenomenal, and we had
over and over again. There's no substance, there's no content. We don't think you even know what you are saying. With you, it's like when the cameras come on, you go off. And we don't understand it.
There are no second chances in this life. There are none. Charlie, you've got to cut your hair, you've got to groom it. At least comb it. At least dress for TV. Your mic, Charlie, is off. Leave the academy now. Frida, you've made us see a side of you that was really good. This is the one task where you switched off. And because of that, Frida, your mic is off.
With your link outside the prison, you started with the breaking news, yes, of Samantha Lethwit having escaped. And at some point you talked about an attack of the Al-Shabaab.
When suspected Al-Shabaab militiamen stormed the prison.
So we were lost at some point. So which is the breaking story here? We're not in the business of rumor mongering as KTN. You must say that. It's good, however, you went ahead to say KTN cannot independently verify that information. That's good. That said, your mic is still on.
Richard, please step forward. Jamal.
Richard, the language that you use when you're dealing with a breaking news story has to be relevant to a breaking news story. There cannot be references to delegations when we are talking about people who are shooting or someone has escaped and all that kind of thing. The delegation is a proper English word, but it doesn't quite fit when we are talking about some terrorist. We talked about notable figures that had been at committee maximum prison, and we kept wondering what connection they had with this fellow who had escaped. You gave some lovely details about Davido and his brother and all that, but again, it was too long. That there is only so much that we can take at one go.
Jamal, we have some problems. And I think the best way to address those problems is by playing back what you did.
Kwanza tunamleta Davido ndani ya KICC. Najua tu uko freshi na kwa ushirikiano wa The Standard Group na Kingoma na KTN tumeamua kuleta ngoma digitali kumleta nani mwingine Davido. Ama vipi? Davido leo ndo ana perform na yuko katika majengo ya KICC na ni ngoma tu digitali manake si ndo wakali.
Jamal, we keep hearing digitally a lot. What does that mean?
Okay, digitali nimekuwa kama ni kama line yangu nimeiunda kama vile KTN Welcome Home.
So when you watch our news or programs, do you hear our anchors saying at the start of every intro, this is KTN News at 9, this is KTN News at 9, this is KTN News at 9? Do you hear that all the time? So drop it. And you're Swahili. Are you Tanzanian? What are you? Kenyan. So why do you speak Tanzania Swahili?
Inakuja nikiwa nafanya entertainment.
What's that?
Nikifanya entertainment nakuwa nafanya kama naongea hivyo.
Inakuja kutoka wapi? Kama inakuja, iambie isimame, it stops. All right? We appreciate that you must have spoken to your camera person to initiate a few moves here and there. That was A1. You're the only one who did it. But then when you start to speak, you lose us. And then we realized that, hold on, he keeps saying it because he has no content.
You're the two hype men. Richard, please step forward. Come on, pick your mic. Jemedali, digitali, kama kazi, kama kawa. Wakati mwingine tena ambapo tunasema pole sana because you've got to drop that. We need a presenter who's got substance. Jamal Gaddafi, from that, zero substance. We'll give you this last chance, Jamal. Your mic is still on.
Asante sana.
Contestants, you can notice that now you're only 7. Yet that number still has to go down further. This is a contest. And ultimately the person who gets out of this, who remains the last man, the last woman standing, content is the key. We'll have to deliver. It's not just a game. Once this is over, you have a job to do. This is going to get difficult as we go along. And only the best, believe me, only the best will take this home.
I feel like if I had a chance to defend myself, I don't know what would have happened, but maybe not this.
I made it past 5,500 people, made it to the top 10. I got eliminated in the top 10. I'm good.
If only I had one word to say exactly how I am feeling right now, it would be easier, because I don't know right now. I'm still so taken by surprise, really. That's it.
The judges have decided. Only 7 contestants continue in this journey. Who will be next to leave the academy? The Presenters Season 2 returns after this break.
To get more information on this show, text in the keyword presenter to 22840.
Hello contestants. You realize that when you become a personality on air as a presenter, you are a brand. And that brand must have what it stands for. So today, the training that you're going to get is on personal branding and corporate branding. It's important to differentiate between the two, but also to see the connection between the two. You'll have a number of experts to come and talk to you. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Doreen Back.
Developing your own personal brand to fit into the corporate brand is a really important thing. The brand is who consumers, when they put on the TV and they choose KT and they choose to listen to you, they listen to you because the news that you're giving them, the information that you're giving them, number one, they take it for granted that it's true and that it's reliable, and they can use whatever information you're relaying to make decisions. Yeah? KTN has had a heritage of truth and trust. Right now, with the advent of social media, news and entertainment are sort of being fused together. So it's not enough just to be able to present something. You also have to be fairly memorable.
Being memorable to the public is key when it comes to branding oneself. How you do it is critical. According to Doreen Mbaya, consistency is of paramount importance.
And you actually have to be very consistent in all the platforms you appear in, including in public. Because people have, they develop a certain expectation. So I see you on screen in a certain way with that hairstyle, and I meet you in a social place, a public place, looking completely different. And the behavior and the appearance is completely inconsistent with what I'm used to on TV. So as your fan or as your follower, I get confused. So it's important that you say, okay, this is who I'm going to be and this is who I'm representing.
When it comes to branding, you need to make sure that what you are talking about represents the feel of the company you work for. If not, make it clear that those are your personal remarks and not those of your employer.
When you blog and you tweet and you're on Facebook and you post certain things that are contrary, unfortunately people are going to take that as a view of the station. Yeah? So it's important that you separate your own personal activities. Yeah? On your social media page.
Differentiating between personal and corporate branding, it's definitely something I have struggled with, because you don't know, if the views you put on your social media pages are just yours, or do they reflect the views of your employer. And so I've learned how to go about that with a bit more caution.
The last thing I'll say is that, it's when you talk about products, or you share your style secrets, or you share anything, you must be very careful, because again, there's KTN, there's you, and there's whatever you're trying to endorse. Whether it's an idea, whether it's a product, you must think about it. And I would say you would have to avoid doing that directly, because it actually may seem as if it's a station that's endorsing that product. Yeah? So you have to be very clear about that.
Wakati mwingine unaona kwa mfano kama mimi pengine ni mtangazaji. Sasa katika mtandao wa kijamii niko na wafuasi wengi. Kwa hivyo utapata pengine kuna shirika ama mtu fulani ananipatia ujumbe wake niweke kwenye mtandao wangu ili watu wengi waone. Je, inaruhusiwa jambo kama hilo?
You realize your relevance and your popularity is there because of the station. Yeah, and maybe you've observed this in many instances. The guys who go off air and you actually forget about them. Unless they're actively building their brand on a different platform, it shows you that your significance and your relevance is actually pushed by the fact that you're in people's living rooms every other day. Whether it's news you're doing, whether it's entertainment you're doing, whether it's talk shows you're doing, you're there every day. So they actually develop a relationship with you.
We've seen anchors, and
you look at a specific anchor, all you know is he or she is an anchor. What if it comes, or if it happens, the anchor has something different, like you're a musician, an actor? Does it mean that you need to stop because now people know you as an anchor?
With any employment contract, it's important that you're required to declare what those other activities are, and if those activities are contrary to the values, yeah, and the business of the organization. Yes, there are some people who have extended activities on their brands, and depending on whether this is done on a volunteer basis or is it done to help society or to push maybe an agenda that the media house is aligned to, then that can be explained and that can be understood. All right, so I'm wishing you guys all the best. I look forward to seeing and working with you guys. It's an excellent brand. KTN is an excellent brand to go with.
Tangu nianze kuja hapa, hakuna siku nimejifunza mambo mengi kwa muda mchache kama hii leo.
Personal branding. Who best to tell us about this than Katherine Kasavuli? Katherine Kasavuli has had an illustrious career spanning more than 3 decades. Her footprints can be traced to way back in 1980 at the then Voice of Kenya, VOK, now known as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, where she worked as a newscaster and continuity announcer. Kasavuli then joined Kenya Television Network, KTN,
in Business Digest tonight,
the first independent television station in Kenya in 1990 as a senior news anchor and training coordinator. This is where her career was to flourish and she became the darling of the nation. She did not just stop there because in 2007, Kasavuli moved to Royal Media Services Citizen Television as chief news anchor and corporate affairs manager. Kasavuli is now running her own outfit christened Kasavuli Media Group, having left the Royal Media Group in 2013. Her cabinet is full of awards and honors.
All of you are winners. All of you are number one. Before we get to the end of the show, just know that you are all winners. You're all number one, okay? I was asked to join television, but I felt I was still too young. They asked me to join television when I was 21. I thought that was just a little too early for me. I had to learn to be courteous very, very quickly. I had to learn to accommodate people very, very quickly. I had to learn to be very tolerant very, very quickly because many people were praising and others were critiquing, they were criticizing. So I had to learn not to take it personally. Once you start thinking about what is outside of the studio or outside of your work, you become frazzled. And being frazzled means your confidence wanes, your articulation suffers, your control is affected because you have to be in control of the situation.
Katherine mentioned that the confidence you need as a journalist is the kind of confidence that should not be faked. It should come at any particular point when you've been called to do something.
When asked about how she managed to stay relevant in the industry for decades, this was her secret.
Your personality is very important, but at the same time, you cannot cook it up. You cannot start working on it right now just because you want to be a news anchor. There's so much that you have in yourself. There's a lot of potential within you, what we call inborn talent. First of all, realize, do I have that? Your looks are important, but not the ultimate thing. Your ability to perform the job, your ability to be able to engage in current affairs, because that is the business of the day. Current affairs, the news, how you deliver your news, how you interact, how you gather your stories, and how you sub-edit your bulletin. Because at the end of the day, once you've been given a bulletin or once you've been given a script for a particular show, you need to be intelligent enough to actually go through that script and either correct what needs to be corrected, adjust what needs to be adjusted, or work with the producer of the program or the director. You must be a team player. You are the one who is carrying the work of everybody else. They started working very early in the morning. Oh, they started working like 3 days ago. You're only coming in to deliver what has to be delivered on that particular day. So teamwork is very, very, very crucial and very important.
Ujasiri si bandia. Kwa hivyo kwa mwanahabari yoyote ni lazima uwe mjasiri, uwe ambao unajua ni nini unaongea. Ukileta takwimu mbele za watu, ni takwimu ambazo zinaeleweka ama ni maneno tu.
I would get awards, best news anchor, best television anchor, whatnot. When you come back to work, please note, you must celebrate with everybody else. You didn't do it alone. You did not do it alone. And please don't let it get into your head. Right now you are on television because of this show. As an essential service provider, you can be called on at any time to come and do a news bulletin. We don't want to know what you've been going through. You must come and project that face of confidence. We need to see proper articulation, proper grammar, and we need to know that you are in control and in charge of the show.
Having started this at a very early age, in your early 20s, when you're very self-conscious about yourself, what pointers did you use to sort of keep the negativity away?
I had to be very careful very, very quickly, because the congratulations, the applause, the praises and all that, they could go into your head, and you could start blowing up and becoming a little too confident, and definitely that is really, really bad for the job.
How do you deal with that negative, energy and the negative space on social media in this day and age?
You need to ask yourself, right now, why are you joining this industry? Do you have what it takes to take you through, to walk you through this industry? Because it is cruel. It can be nasty. It can be unforgiving. And it can be, an oyster. You can enjoy yourself. You can have fun. But please note, you need to come into it respecting it.
You said you were quite shy before going on air, and actually took you 1 year to do that. How were you able to curb that and manage your shyness?
I was taken through a 3-month clinic by journalists. It was an in-service course, and at the end of it, oh my goodness, I was wonderful. It takes time. It does take time. I always imagine you are going to be better than your teacher. So zile rules ata wewe, improve on them, okay? Go above them. You understand? Thank you.
Ilikuwa furaha sana isiyo kifani kufunzwa na yeye, mtu ambaye ana tajriba zaidi ya miongo mitatu katika fani ya utangazaji.
With Miss Katherine Kasavuli, I took it very seriously because it is something that is coming from someone who has been there. This is a woman who has seen technology change from the 1980s to the 1990s into the new millennium, as in that is something you should take very heavily.
That was some really good food for thought for the presenter contestants. What next? Find out when the presenter season 2 returns.
To get more information on this show, text in the keyword presenter to 22840.
When you hear of social media, what exactly comes to your mind? Is it the number of likes you get on your Instagram pic, your followers on Twitter, or how many friends you have on your Facebook account? Well, who better to tell us than the experts?
Kenyans on Twitter and Kenyans on social media aren't known for being the most friendly, welcoming, and embracing lot, but you can choose to channel that as energy.
Meet Mark Kaigwa, a young Kenyan who has a multidisciplinary background with experience ranging from marketing and communication, design thinking, screenwriting, film production and directing, as well as creative direction and advertising. He takes the contestants through social media engagement.
Social media can be a place where we attach a lot of emotion. In this day and age, technology itself is the same way. I send you a WhatsApp message, I see 2 blue ticks, you don't reply for 20 minutes. Emotion. It was just a message. Someone sends you a tweet, you read 2 meanings behind it. What comes from that? Emotion. I'm not saying that you should be a robot, but I am saying have a healthy bit of distance and be intentional about it as the first place you start.
In the world of social media, you are the key to what people perceive about you.
The truth is, if you don't speak, people will speak about you. And you have really the power to create a perception, and the more consistent you are with it, the more memorable you can become.
Social media is the easiest way of getting the public to be in the know of what is happening every moment. It might not get you liked or popular, but in all effort, you must strive to make every post memorable.
That emotional distance is to keep you honest, and at the end of the day, it really helps you stay focused on what I think the prize is. And the prize is this. Everything I'll say will come back to this. Have an intentional web presence. In this day and age of the internet, you're trying to do one thing as a presenter candidate now, and just as a person of interest and a person in society nowadays. You want to give people as much information about you without having to ask you. So I do not want to have to come and say, Frida, tell me a bit about yourself. I should know that because the basics are online. Now you could keep this very professional, a lot of people do. Some people prefer that, you have a great story, you've really owned it, you've come from far, here's where you are. You want people to know that. Have it exist somewhere because people want to find out as much as they can. I'm not going to say the word stalking here, I'm just literally going to say people are hungry. The same way you will Google yourself, people have been doing that for years. They're probably doing it right now. Maybe some are Googling me, I don't know. Okay, at least I can expect it and I know what they'll find because I've been intentional about what's there.
They say the internet never forgets, and Mark is quick to point that out. You need to be very careful about what you post on social media.
Your very first Facebook update, your last one, every single bit and bite of information you share isn't going anywhere. The delete button is oftentimes a way of you doing this, but it's the same way. It doesn't matter how long I keep rubbing my chest like this, fire will not erupt from my chest here, okay? It doesn't matter how much I rub my hands like this, I'll get warm, but you're not going to see me spark a fire. Generally, just exercise the rule of thumb.
The public are very scrutinizing. They do not allow room for mistake. And every mistake you make, they will come back at you like lions.
So, one quick example. I have 2 pages on Facebook, a personal profile and something a bit corporate, Michelle Ngele, the brand. But I still find that I get more traffic on my personal profile, whereas I want people to go to my corporate page. How do you handle multiple social media accounts?
You are completely in control and capable of having a small, tight-knit page of people that you love, admire, respect, and that can see that picture of you from when you were 7. You can also have followers who will get only your public updates. What I would encourage you is this. Have a look at Facebook's privacy settings. It's going to actually take a bit of time. They've worked hard to make it very simple now, or a lot simpler than it once was. But it's possible that you may just end up, the decision is yours, closing the larger page, the one that you have to like, and keeping your personal profile. However, what I would encourage you is to be selective about who you add as a friend and to expect that people will take offense when you don't add them as a friend and now they're following you and they're like, but I thought, so I'm just going to get your updates. It's like that. Expect a bit of that, but you have the choice now.
Huwa nachukulia Twitter wakati mwingine huwa ni ngumu sana. Sijui utanisaidia vipi kwa jambo hilo. Sababu pia unaona pia kwa Twitter watu wengi sana huwa wako chonjo, sababu ukikosea tu kidogo inaleta madhara kwa urahisi kuliko hata Facebook.
Nendo created what we call the A to Z of Kenyan Twitter. Now, the A to Z of Kenyan Twitter is, at a very simple level, it's a guide to the culture, the character, and the quirks of Kenyans on Twitter.
You talked about the pseudonyms and versus the real names. And you talked about Googling yourself. So what do you think is advisable, especially developing yourself as this brand that you want to be now and in the future?
It's not fine if you want to shape the minds of all these Kenyans. So I would put it back to you and I'd say, this goes back to you. So is it okay when they put that on TV and because you know people are gonna Google what they saw. And right now, for people who've never met you, you already have a name and you already have an appearance, and what they're looking for is consistency online. So that's it, guys. It's been a real pleasure talking and sharing with you.
I would say, okay, it's a challenge for me now, because I never knew the importance of it that much. But now that I know if I am to become a brand, I need to be more active on all my social media platforms.
Then in comes Mr. Trendsetter, Christian Della, or Xtian Della if you like, a social media personality, influencer, and a marketing strategist, ranked as one of Yahoo Africa's most influential blogger and online personalities in Africa. He has won several social media awards in Kenya and received recognition in Africa in the social media realm.
So let's talk trends, let's talk influence, let's talk numbers. First question, what's social media influence?
Social media influence should be sort of close to what an opinion leader does. You influence people on social media.
Correct. Does having a lot of numbers relate to having influence? What do you think?
Unaweza kuwa na watu 5,000 lakini ukaandika status ukapata like 5, 3 ama comment no comment ama, lakini ukawa na watu 10 na ukaweka comment ukaweka status ukapata comment 10 na like 10.
So I'm here to talk about and discuss about how to harness the numbers so that they can relate to having the influence. On my social media platforms have fairly good numbers. I have slightly above 500,000 followers on Twitter. I have around close to 26,000 on Instagram and slightly above 100,000 on Facebook.
Si ati kuwa na wafuasi wengi ina maana ati wewe ndio bingwa.
And it all starts and begins with branding. How do you brand yourself on social media? The basic is simple. Number 1, your profile picture. Number 2, your cover photo. Number 3, your bio. And number 4, basically your voice on social media.
A journalist's influence on social media has to come from ideas that will bring about change in people's lives. Gaining and growing influence comes from interacting with people on social media. It is about the people.
Influence comes from, as you've said, you can be able to impact change on social media. You can make. If you have good numbers and influence, a lot of people are going to see. And a good example is a reporter from this station, KTN, Ian Wafula. He's harnessed his social media influence to actually to make something trend before it's already shown. In each and every post that you make, you need to make it engaging. You need to make people want to interact with you.
One of the things they can take away from it really is maybe on the factor of really interacting with your audience, getting to know them, following people, asking people to send you shout-outs and such stuff.
Having influence is one thing, sustaining it, a totally different ballgame. As Xtian puts it, if you want to be around a long time and still matter, you must, without a doubt, plan for all your posts on social media, because it doesn't just happen. Planning. It's all about planning.
Your content really, really matters. I take up to 8 hours every day planning my content on what I'm going to post. You need to segment the type of people who are following you. The serious people, the political ones, the sporty ones, the entertainment ones, the inspirational, the woye mushi kind of people, the party animals, and all these people. You need to cater for all of them. You need to know how to relate with these people. You need to personalize your content. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's reading it. Social media, it's a game of testing the waters. Once you see something is working, keep on stoking that fire. Ongeza kuni hapo. Continue doing that. But ukiona kitu, even I have more than 500,000 followers. Believe me, believe you me, I post some things, I'm the only person who actually favorites. No retweets, nothing. Imekauka, naangalia hivi. I just delete that and try something else.
Siko active sana katika mtandao wa Twitter. Na kwangu ulikuwa ni mtandao ambao kidogo nilikuwa nimeogopa, lakini sasa itabidi nijizatiti.
Tunataka followers pap.
Getting pub followers, a way that I have seen work over the years that I've been on social media very fast is, I know all of you have 1 or 2 or 3 people who you know have more followers than you on social media accounts. Yo, just share my account, tell people to follow me. That works instantly. And the more they do it, the more you gain.
How long did it take you to have over 500,000 followers on Twitter?
I said previously, use your social media profiles and handles to grow each other. Make sure that you are active. Rule number 1 on social media, be interactive. Rule number 2, be active. Be active. Thank you very much.
That's all for this week. The competition is getting tougher as the days go by. Who will live to take the coveted title of the presenter? Keep watching The Presenter Season 2.
To get more information on this show, text in the keyword presenter to 22840.